Yes. Greetings to all. I, Poonam Devi, chairperson of IEEE Student Branch, MNIT Jaipur, welcome you all to join this journey research seminar series, which is organized to share the exciting research at MNIT Jaipur. The first seminar in this series is being organized on evolutionary algorithm to handle multi-objective optimization problem. I welcome our first speaker, Ms. Rachna Gupta. She is currently working as Assistant Professor, Institute of Advanced Research, Gujarat. She has worked as a research member of an ISRO Indian Space Research Organization project at the Space Center of Charutar University of Science and Technology. She has submitted her PhD thesis on clustering algorithms based on multi and many objectives optimization for cloud detection in satellite images in ECE department, MNIT Jaipur. Her research interests are digital signal processing, adaptive signal processing, image processing, data clustering, neural networks, evolutionary computing, bio and nature inspired system, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. Now I request Ms. Rachna Gupta to deliver her talk.
Thank you, Poonam, for this wonderful introduction. So, welcome everybody. So today we are going to discuss on evolutionary algorithm to handle multi-objective optimization problem, and particularly we are going to discuss the single objective social spider optimization algorithm and how we can extend that single objective social spider algorithm into multi-objective space, and hence we can use the clustering algorithm for the application in satellite images. So these are the basic outlines that we are going to discuss today. So let's start with the brief introduction of the behavior of this spider colony. So basically, the spider's behavior are divided into two parts, that is the solitary and the social spider, right? So solitary spider are the spiders that create and maintain their own web. They live individually, they live alone. However, the social spider, they live together, they form colony, and in that, the interesting characteristic of the social spider is that the female spider are more dominating. The number of population of female spider are biased as compared to the male spider. Now here you can see that it is in the literature that the male spider are found 20 to 40% of the total colony, whereas the female spider are found as 60 to 80% of the total colony. Uh, and in that also, male spider are found. They have different behavior like dominating male and non-dominating male. So here in spider colony, what happened? The dominate behavior of this spider are expressed in terms of weight, like more the weight, more the spider are dominated. Okay, so the question arises that how this spiders communicate, interact on the same web. So there are two methods, that is the direct or indirect. So in direct methods, what happen? They do mating and they interact with each other. Whereas in indirect method, they use the web as the medium of communication and they share their information, share one, the spider share their own information to other spider to maintain the social information in the colony. Okay, so okay, let's discuss that what is the indirect interaction. So today we are going to work on indirect interaction. So now here you can see that there are few spiders on the web, where here this is the SI spider. So it tries to communicate with the spider, male spider here. Here these two are female spiders. Okay. Okay. So what happens? The spider crawl on the web and share and change its position, and while changing the position it produces vibrations. Now the characteristic of the spider is that they have precise vibration senses. Also they can distinguish the individual vibration intensity on the the vibration spread on the same web. So these are the so vibration is the important characteristic, or we can say that the parameter through which they distinguish they share their information to other spider. So here you can see that the vibration, as the distance of this spider increases from this spider, the vibration decreases exponentially. So accordingly, the equation has been yeah, okay. So accordingly, wait a second, yeah, so accordingly the equation has been defined. So here you can see that this is the general equation that has been modeled for the vibration. So here I is the ith spider that shares its information, or send the vibration to jth spider. Now here you can see that the equation is depend on the weight of the spider. More is the weight, more is the vibration intensity to send the vibration from ith spider to the jth spider. Now here the exponential parameter says that the vibration exponentially decreases with this distance. D says that this is the distance. Yeah, D is the parameter that is the distance from ith spider to jth spider. So as the distance increases, the vibration intensity exponentially decreases, right? So this formula can be related with the two parameter, that is the weight of the spider as well as the distance between the ith spider to the jth spider. Now three types of vibration we are going to use, that is while modeling the behavior of spider colony, that is the VCI. VCI means the ith spider sending the vibration to the closest spider. So this is the C. Here C is for the closest spider. VBI is the best. ith spider sends the vibration to the best. Best spider means the spider which is having the maximum weight in the colony. Okay, and here ith spider BFI, that means the ith spider sends its vibration from to the best female spider. Okay, best female means the female spider having the maximum weight. Okay. So here I have just give a picture where you can see that this is the VCI, here the spider. So here the SI spider sends its information to the closest spider. Now here you can see that closest spider having the maximum weight. So here, yeah. So here. So here you can see that these are the two female spiders. Whether it can be possible that nearest spider can be male spider or the female spider. Okay, so but in this situation you can find that both these spiders are female spiders. So you can see that this female spider having the weight 0.2 and this female spider having the 0.6. So the maximum weight of this spider, that is the fittest spider. Okay, the maximum weight of the closest spider is the VCI demonstrated like that. The vibration sent to the closest fittest spider. Okay. Okay. Now next is the VBI. Now here you can see that the maximum weight of the colony. So here you can see that 0.2, 0.6, 0.8. So this spider, this male spider is having the maximum weight, that is the 0.8. So VBI, so this spider SX is the best spider of the colony, and accordingly we will define this vibration equation. Okay. So now the third is VFI. Now here you can see that the female spider, which is the nearest spider, so the spider, the closest spider, as well as the we will select the female spider only. F is for the female spider. So the spider, I guess this is the wrong one. So here 0.6 will come. So the spider having the maximum weight as well as the closest also. But okay, this is the right one. Here the distance. Here you can see that the distance of SI spider to this SZ spider is less than as compared to the SY spider to the SI spider. Okay, so that's why this spider has been selected. This is the nearest spider having the maximum weight. Okay, so this is how we choose the best spider of the colony, nearest female spider of the colony, as well as closest spider of the colony. Okay. Now here, first the modeling starts with the population initialization. So as I have told you, the entire social colony is divided into two parts, that is the female spider as well as the male spider. But here, as I have already discussed, the number of the population is quite biased. Of female spider population is quite biased as compared to the male spider. So the number of population of female spider is more than as compared to the male spider. So here you can find this. Okay. Now there are different cooperative operator of the male spider and female spider. Okay. So cooperative operator means actually this spider colony, the social spider colony, is the swarm optimization technique, where the population decides or change its position uh, based on its own intelligence as well as the group intelligence. So here you can see by this formula, right now I'm discussing the female cooperative operator. Female cooperative operator means how the female spiders change its position on the web and reach to the food or reach to the destination. Okay, so this is how right now I'm discussing. Okay, so here you can see that this two parameter. So this suggests the local searching. Local searching means here you can see that SC, that is the close position of the closest spider, and this is the current position of the female spider. This is the SB, means the position of the best spider in the colony, and this suggests the current spider of the current position of the female spider. Okay, so it means that now here you can see that, yeah. So here first we'll do this. Okay, so this is important because, okay, so this is important because it gives you the optimization, the search engine in the local area, and while this will give you the information of the global search, which is known as the exploration. This is known as the exploitation. Okay, so how this happens? So it compares its position. For example, this is the ith female spider. So ith female spider compare its position with the position of the closest population having the highest weight. Okay, so and VCI is the vibration that is sent from that is received by closest spider. Okay, so this is how the amplitude so we will, so this particular parameter is given in multiplication form, because as more is the intensity, more will be the priority will be given to the local intelligence. Okay, now let's talk about the global intelligence. Global intelligence, here you can see that we have used the VBI, that is the vibration received by the best spider of the colony, and the distance has been measured with the best spider of the colony. This is the position of the best spider, but this is the vibration received by the best spider, and this parameter is added just to give a random behavior of the spider. So this is just a random value, which is it's a constant value. This is added with the global as well as the local intelligence of the spider. Okay, so here there are two movements are there, that is the attractive movement and repulsion movement. Attraction movement, that means it goes towards the food, and repulsion matlab towards the positive direction, and repulsion movements, that means it goes away from the current position. Okay, yeah. So now next is the male cooperative operator. How male spiders search search for the food foraging or search for the solution. So here male spider move as per the female spider's decision. So this is, you can see here, the vibration received by the female spider from the male spider, and this is the distance measured from the best female, nearest female to the ith male spider. So distance, the difference has been measured, and this, according to the vibration and the distance, the position of the ith male spider updates its position for the next generation. So this is the behavior of the dominating male spider. Now this is the non-dominating male spider, which does not depends on the decision of the female spider. So this is just a weighted sum of the you can see that this is weighted sum of the weight from the weight of the particular male spider to the nearest female spider. Okay, so this is how we can update the male spider and female spider's position. Okay, now that is a mating operator. So you can use any operator. So right now I'm just giving you the information about the 2-point crossover. So here you can see that these are the, for example, S1 and S2. These are the, S1 is the female spider and S2 is the male spider, right? So here this vertical line is the random line, and this, okay, so this ABCD are the decision variables of the female spider, and this is the decision variable HIF ABC, that is the decision variable of the male spider. Okay, this is the decision variable of the male spider, this is the decision variable of the female spider. Let's assume it. Okay, so these 2 points are randomly selected, and crossover principle suggests that the exchange of the decision variables happens. Now here you can see that how this happens. Now here ABC, so here we put ABC, and this decision variable of the male spider will be exchanged over here. Okay, now this decision of the female spider will be exchanged over here. So it will remain like this. Now these are the, now this is known as the decision variable of the child population that is generated from the female spider and the male spider. Okay, now how the second child generated. So the decision variable of second child developed. So here you can see that the particular decision variable of the male spider is reached here. Now here this decision variable has been exchanged over here, and this will remain like this. So this is how we can exchange the decision variable of the male and female spider and generates the child population. So the each pair generates the 2 child population. So if there are total population of 10 member and 6 are because it's like 60 to 80% are female spider in the colony. So if you assume that 6 are the female spiders and 4 are the male spiders, so the child population will be total 12. Okay, so the total colony the total population in the colony for the current generation will be 22. 6 plus 4 plus 12. Okay, yeah. So this, okay. Okay. Now let's discuss the algorithmic model of Mosso. So here you can see that this is, for example, this is the population of the female spider, decision variable of the female spider. This is the decision variable of the male spider. Now, as well as this is, for example, this is the decision variable of both male spider and female spider, and these are the decision variables of the child population. Now, as I have discussed that currently we have started with the 10 population. Then here, after the child population, 12 population has been added. Now it is 22. So what we have to do while moving from one generation to the another generation, we will maintain the number of population same. Right? We have started with 10, so we'll end with 10. Okay. But now after mating operation, the population increased with 12. Like now the total becomes 22. So we have to choose the best 10 population from the current generation. So for that we will use 2 sorting methods, that is the non-dominated sorting method and second is the crowding distance sorting method. Okay, so what it does, so non-dominated sorting method, it divides the entire population into different groups. Okay, like F1 group, F2 group, F3 group. Right here you can see. Technically, these groups are known as fronts. Okay, first front, second front, third front. That is here the variable has been used as F1, F2, F3. Now the front which is having the best solution is placed over here, placed first. Then this solution which is placed in the second front, second group, is having the fitness less than F1 but greater than F3. So likewise, in the descending order, we will put the weight. Okay. Now, the important characteristic of the similar group is that each group, the solution which is present in the each group, that have, for example, the solution which is present in the F1 group are non-dominated to each other. Now this non-dominated is different. Now this is now not in terms of, we have discussed right now, like dominating behavior. It is not in terms of behavior. Now here that we have moved from single objective to multi-objective. So in multi-objective, the non-dominated, the technical understanding of non-dominated is, we can't say that which solution is better than other. Okay, I'll explain you later on. Now let's move to the crowding distance sorting. Okay, so likewise, we'll divide the entire population into different groups. And after dividing the entire group, now here you can see that, for example, up to here, we reach to the 8 population, right? Now we have to fill the total 10 population. So we have to select 2 population from this F3 group. Now how to select that? So for that, we are using this crowding distance sorting method. Okay, as I have said that all the solution which belongs to the same group are non-dominated. So non-dominated, that means we can't say that which solution is better. So that's why this extra module has been added to divide the solution, to select the solution from the non-dominated group. Okay, yeah. Okay. So these are the mathematical expression for the to define the multi-objective optimization. So X will take as the decision variable. So X is the decision variable, and Gx, Hx are nothing but some constant, and F1, F2 are the objectives to which we have to reach. We have to optimize. Okay, yeah. Now, first understand the concept of domination. As I have discussed, we'll first understand how this non-domination concept works. So here you can see, okay. So see this graph. Okay, we are just discuss this. We are going to discuss this graph. So here you can see that now this solution 1, solution 2 are randomly placed in this space. This is the 2D space, right? Now here this is the objective 1 which has to be minimized. This is objective 2 which has to be minimized, right? So in terms of minimization, you can see that solution 1 is minimum in both the objective, that is in solution 1 as well as solution 2. So we can say that solution 1 is better as compared to all the solutions in both the objective. Likewise, solution 2 and solution 3. Now, if we compare solution 2 and solution 3, so you can say that solution 3, we are working on minimization problem. Okay, so you can say that solution 2 is better in first objective. Okay, solution 2 is better in first objective as compared to solution 3, right? But solution 3 is better as compared to solution 2 in the second objective. So in this case, we can't decide that which solution is better. So such solutions are known as non-dominated solutions. Okay, similarly, you can find in this case solution 4 and solution 5. So both are non-dominated to each other. We can't say that which solution is better than other. Okay, so this is the symbol to denote the domination. Like you can say that solution I is better than solution I dominates solution J. Dominates is nothing but the better. Okay, best solution in particular objective. Okay. Okay. So give me a second. Okay. So we'll continue that. I'm sorry. So now here you can see that there is some domination principle which we have to use. Solution I is now, as we are working on the minimization problem. So here you can see that solution I is less than solution J in nth objective, right? So at least one objective, the solution I should be less than, right? While in case of plus, all the objective of the solution I should be less than solution J in all the objective. So these are the two conditions where we can say that solution I dominates solution J. Okay. Solution I dominates, sorry, yeah. So solution I dominate, so here, I'm sorry, yeah. Solution dominates solution J if both this condition satisfy, right? But when both this condition, but any of the condition is not satisfied, at that time we can say that solution I is non-dominated to solution J. So here I have just explained with some equation. So here you can see that solution 1 dominates with whom? Solution 2, solution 3, solution 4, solution 5. Now here you can see that solution 2 dominates both solution 4 and solution 5. Now here you can see solution 2 dominates solution 4 and 5. But okay, now here you can see solution 3 dominates solution 5 because solution 3 is non-dominated to the solution 4. So we can't give it into the list. So on. So likewise, we'll decide that how the particular solution dominates the other solution. Now here you can see that solution 2 is a non-dominated to solution 3, and likewise solution 3 is non-dominated to solution 4, and solution 4 is non-dominated to solution 5. So likewise the domination is calculated. Okay. So this is the non-dominated sorting method. Now here you can see that this is the randomly placed this solution placed in a black box. Okay, so these are randomly placed in the 2D objective. Now what we'll do, based on the domination principle, will divide this entire solution into different group, which is known as the front. Now I'll use the front, like F1, F2 up to Fk. Now here you can see that F1 is selected for the first front, F2, solution 2 and solution 3 is selected for the second front, solution 4 and solution 5 is selected for the third front, right? But here solution 1 is better. The solution which belongs to first front is better as compared to the solution that belongs to the second front, right? You can see from this graph also. The solution 2 is better. The front of the second front, all the solution of the second front is better as compared to all the solution that belongs to the third front. Okay. So likewise, we'll divide the entire solution into different fronts, and we will select the solution for the next iteration. So these are the some approaches through which we'll will calculate the non-dominated domination count and non-dominated number of rank, and based on the rank and the domination count, we'll decide that which solution should be placed in first front, which solution which should be placed in second front, and so on. So this is the pseudo code that decides, as I have discussed with you through graph, that how it works. So I'll just explain you as we have time, so we can discuss this. Okay. So here you can see that the solution 1 dominates. Okay, so here you can see that solution 1 dominates solution 2, solution 3, solution 2, solution 3, solution 4, solution 5. Okay, so likewise we have just created the set of the solutions which dominates. Now here you can see that solution 2 is non-dominated to solution 3, but which solution? Now this is very important. Two terms are very important. This term and this term. Yeah, this is the dominated set. This is the set and this is the count. This is the count. Count means which solution dominates. Like here you can see that solution 1 dominates solution 2. Means only one solution dominates 2. Okay. Now here you can see that. Now here in case of solution 1, nobody dominates solution 1. Solution 1 is the best. Okay. So here the domination count of the solution 1 will be 0. But in case of solution 2, the domination count of the solution 2 is what? 1. Because only one solution is dominate solution 2. Likewise, here you can see that only one solution. Here this is the domination set and this is the domination count. So the domination count is 1 for solution 3. So here I have mentioned that this domination count of the solution 1 is 0, domination count of solution 2 and solution 3 is 1, and so on, solution 4 and solution 5, right? So these are the ranking. Like this indicates that this is the best. So this will give, so we will give this solution 1 as rank 1, solution 2 as domination count of both the solution are same. So the rank of both the solution 2 and solution 3 will remain same, that is rank 2, and so on. Okay. Now so this is how we'll divide the entire solution into different groups, and we will accordingly decide. Now the second sorting method is the crowding distance sorting method, as I have already discussed here. So I have discussed here that first we'll divide into different, and we will divide this entire solution into different groups. I'm talking about this entire solution into different groups, and after that we'll use this crowding distance sorting method. Okay, and we'll select the few solutions from the non-dominated solution set. Okay, so how to select? So that we can, so that we are going to discuss now. Okay. Okay, so this is the crowding distance principle. This is so we are going to discuss only a simple formula. So here you can see that, for example, this. So these are the solutions. For this is the two objectives, F1 and F2 are the two objectives, and these are the solutions. We obtain the solutions. Okay. So here, for example, we are working on this ith solution. Ith solution. So what it will do? It will measure the objective function value from the I+1 distance. Like here you can see that I+1 minus I-1. So it will, here this rectangular box suggests that only it will take the difference from I+1 to the I-1, divide by the maximum objective function at mth objective. This is the maximum objective function, minimum objective value at mth objective. Like for example, if we are talking about F1, so the minimum, so this solution, this is the minimum value. Sorry, this is the minimum value for the F2. Okay, and this is the minimum value. First solution is the minimum value of the F1, right? So what we'll do, will, for example, this is 2, and this is 1. Okay, so what we'll do, this is the maximum if we are working on the F1 objective. So for example, this is 3. Okay, so what we'll do, in division, F max minus F mean. So denominator will be 3 minus 2. Likewise, if we are working on nth objective, here we are working on first objective. Here m, the small m suggests the objective on which we are working, and this particular value has been added to the current distance of the particular solution. So this is how we sort. So this is how we measure the crowding distance and sort this entire population based on based on non-dominated sorting method as well as crowding distance method. Okay. Now these are few objectives. Now here you can see that these are the standard test problems ZDP. You can find this is available online. Here you can see that each test problem consists two objectives, that is F1 and F2, with 30 decision variable, and this is the behavior of the test problem. So I have just I've just shown here. So here you can see that this is the graph. Here the blue line, this blue line are the true Pareto trend, and this red stars, that is the obtained solution. Hello.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible. Please
Okay. Thank you so much. So I'll continue. Okay. Okay. So right now, so till now,
Ma'am,
so
please
till
share your
now,
screen.
I have already shared Guru. Okay, so again I'll share. Wait a second. Okay, I'll share again.
Okay.
Please let me know if you can, if
Hmm.
you see this. Okay. Yeah. Now Can you?
Yeah.
Okay. So can
No,
I
ma'am.
continue? Yeah.
Ma'am, my only video is continuing. Your presentation screen is not visible.
Acha, it's not visible. Okay, 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 okay. Uh, I have no idea. Uh, give me some time. So I just received a message that it's visible. Rahul Ratna so is saying that it's visible.
Okay, okay,
Please check. You please check once, okay?
okay, okay,
Confirm me this.
okay.
Okay. So can I continue?
Yeah, you can continue.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So till now, we have discussed the single objective of social spider optimization technique. Then we have discussed the extension version of social spider algorithm into multi-objective space. And after that, we have discussed how which methods has been used for the sorting purpose. That is the non-dominated sorting we have discussed. We have discussed the crowding distance method, and these are the few test problems, mathematical test problem through which we can decide that here blue line suggests the true Pareto front. True Pareto, that means the reference that this should be there. Okay, so you can see there is the overlapping of the solution is maintained. Okay, now while you are working on the multi-objective, you have to be very careful that the diversity we have to take care about the two parameters, that is the convergence as well as the diversity of the solution. Now the convergence, that means the solution which overlaps over the true Pareto front. Second, diversity is the all the solutions should not give the same solution. We need to have different decision uh, in the conflict objective case, right? So here you can see that these red stars that give the solutions of the spider population, and this blue line, that is the true Pareto front. So overlapping means the convergence part is done, and the diversity, the difference among the solution, that suggests that the each solution is giving the different decision. Okay, so while extending this particular algorithm into the clustering technique, we have to use, so the question arises that what to use as a objective. So while doing the clustering, we have used the centroid as a parameter, as a decision parameter. And how this decision parameter is used, I have shown here through equation how this decision parameter has been used as to define the objective. Now I'll discuss this. Now the first objective is the distance. Here you can see that I, this is the C is for the centroid. Cj is the centroid of the jth spider. Okay, so the difference of this centroid value suggests that this solution, the separation between the two clusters should be the maximum. Okay, so while clustering, while designing any clustering technique, we have to take care of the two parameters, that the connectivity of the solution belonging to the same group should be maximum, as well as the difference, the connectivity should be minimum, means each this solution which belongs to the same group should be near to each other, so it should be minimum, right? But when it comes to the different groups, right, so the centroid of both the groups, I request that please mute the mic. Okay, so this centroid belong to the different group should be separable. Okay, so this SM, the similarity measure, says that the centroid of first group should be different to the centroid of the second group, or distance should be maximum. And as we are working on the minimization problem, so we have used this minus sign so that we can convert this maximum problem into a minimum problem. Okay, now this variance measure gives the information about the connectivity of the solution that belongs to the same group.
Now, how so we have equated like this. Now here xi is the data, okay, and this is the centroid. So what each data will calculate the distance of particular centroid, the centroid of particular group. Okay, so for example, the xi solution is near to the first group, so it will connect to that group. X2 is near to the second group, so X2 data will connect to the second group. So likewise, the labeling is done for each data point and will cluster the entire data into different group as per our application. Okay, so we have used as SM similarity measure, we named as similarity measure, and second as the variance measure as a two objective. So both should be minimum. So this was our target. So while doing this in two objective space, these are the solution. These are the spider solution that we have obtained in a compromised manner. So the solution which is near to the origin in both the objective we considered as the best solution. Okay, so here each solution corresponds to the, now here you can see that each solution corresponds to the centroid repository. Okay, so here for example, this solution belongs to this, means this circle represents the centroids, right? So these are the decision variables in multiple dimensional. Out of this solution, we have to select one. As I have told that this is the first front, the solution of the first front will be the best solution. So out of this solution, which solution that belongs to the first front, which solution is better? That is difficult to decide because all the solutions of the same group are non-dominated to each other. That means we can't say that this solution is better to other. We can't decide that. So we have chosen the principle that the solution which is near to the origin in both the objective will choose that. So likewise, out of this solution we have selected one solution. So here I have marked as a dark gray color. So we just took that centroid and do the k-mean process and k-mean clustering process, and we just get the label. And these are few satellite images. Now here I have mentioned over here the three cases, that is the cloud over water area, this is the cloud over vegetation area, and this is the cloud over desert area. Okay, so these are the images captured by Landsat 8 satellite. This is freely available on UGC NASA site. Okay, why I have chosen the Landsat 8 satellite? Because in Landsat 8 satellite, one channel is available where it detects the cloud. Okay, so this second row here, this is the second row. So the channel 9 is there. It detects the cirrus clouds. There are different clouds are available. So it detects the cirrus clouds, and these are the results that is received from the cirrus channel of the Landsat 8 satellite. And this third row represents the cluster result that we received using this MOSO technique. We named as MOSO C. Here you can see that we named as MOSO C. We have worked on band 4. Band 4 is nothing but the red part of the electromagnetic region. That is the visible region. There are different bands. That means wavelengths, frequency. Information is available in different frequencies. So we have used the information of band 4, and we have worked on it, and we have used this MOSO C technique as a clustering technique to cluster the cloudy region from different regions. Here I have just shown the three regions, that is the water, vegetation, and desert part. So this is how we can use the nature inspired algorithm or swarm or evolutionary algorithm, I must say, for the clustering purpose, for the classification purpose. Here I have used the image processing as an application. You can use in your particular application in any field. So this is how we can work in real life application. So this is all about from my side. Poonam. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this enlightening presentation. Now we will have a QA session. If anyone has query, please feel free to ask here.
Hello.
Yes, you
Yeah.
are audible.
Yes. So, ma'am, actually, I have a specific question. I have a couple of questions to ask. Firstly, is that when you are considering the environmental selection method, you are considering two
I'm so
objects in
sorry.
Excel.
I'm so sorry. I can't hear you. Please.
Oh, am I not audible?
If possible, please type your questions on chat box.
Okay.
Yes, please. The question has been asked, ma'am, how many images will be required for optimization? Okay, so I have used only single image to cluster the solution because the Mosso algorithm has very good. This is developed by our group. So the algorithm has a good exploration and exploitation search capability. So we have used only a single. Okay. This is not a supervised learning rule, this is the unsupervised learning rule. Okay, so that is so we don't need to have number of data, large number of data to train any system. So this is the unsupervised learning rule. So we have used only single image and we have just checked it out, and we have also checked over number of images to get the solutions here. While we do environment selection method, Arun Kashmir has been asked me, while we do environmental selection method, we consider two objective as one at x-axis and another at y-axis. What if I need to include four objective for this selection? The same near to origin will be considered as best solution in four dimension also? Okay, so this is a very good question. So we have extended our algorithm in many objective case also. So there also we have used the same principle. If your solution, if your objective goes to negative, so you can, in spite of choosing the origin, you can go for the minimization, minimum in all the objective. Take this as a reference in spite of origin. I hope I have just given the answer. Yeah. Yeah, sure, please. Thank you, Abdul. Thank you. Okay, so Arun Kashmir is asking, in dominating count ranking, I am not getting the rank of N3. Okay, so we'll go back to this slide. So let's see what's your query. N3.
So I'll just confirm your question once, that you are not getting for the ranking of third solution. Am I correct, Arun? Okay, and solution 3, right? Okay. Okay. So Arun, see here, for solution 3, we are talking about solution 3. So if you see, only solution 1 is better than in both the objective for solution 3. Okay, so that's why I have written that solution 1 dominates solution 3. Okay, so domination count means what? How many solution that dominates? So only one solution, that is solution 1, dominates. That's why we have written over here that domination count of solution 3 is 1. I'll back to the chat box. Okay. Okay, so okay, Arun. Sri Kumar is asking how I can compare this optimization with genetic algorithm or PSO. So how you can compare means you are asking about application or you are asking about test problems, or okay. So in general, if I say like if time accuracy, okay, in terms of that, so you can show your Pareto chart. Pareto chart means as I have just shown over here. So this is the Pareto chart you can show. There are few you can see your time accuracy is measured when you in GD, that is generational distance, inverse generational distance, spacing. So it will give global, how to ensure it will give global optimization. Okay, so as I have discussed that the search engine is using the decision of the global spider, the best spider in the colony, right? So in each solution, in each generation is measuring, is taking is it necessary? Okay, so I'll answer this first. Okay, so each solution, each spider in each generation is taking it measure its distance from the best population in the colony. So this ensures that it will give the global optimization as we are working on it. So Arun Kashmir is asking, is it necessary to do non-dominatory sorting always before crowding distance sorting? Okay, so for that, Arun, I must say that without crowding distance, because I have just told you that. Okay, I have just told you that the solutions, the end solution for the next generation, the end, suppose here there are two end solution, we have to select the end solution, so we have to take both the, here crowding distance is based on this group only, f1, f2, f3 fronts only, right? As I have told you that we have to select the solution from f3, and before, without dividing this solution, we can't work we can't work with crowding distance sorting. So first we have to go for a non-dominated sorting, and then we have to do this crowding distance sorting. Yeah. What will happen if we do distance sorting first and then finding domination? And so I thought I think that I had just given the answer. Thank you.
I think we don't have any more query.
Okay.
So now, on the behalf of TechCube 3 and IEEE student branch MNIT, I would like to thank Ms. Rachna Gupta for her valuable time and this insightful presentation. I would like to thank all participants. Also, if you have any query, you can send us mail or can directly talk to speaker. Her email ID is given in the poster I have shared. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time.
Thank you, Poonam. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.